And good morning. It's 6:30 already on a Friday morning. Better find your jacket. It's cold. 30 at the studios as we see that other thermometers are even showing less than that. I've heard of 28 in some places. It is definitely freeze warning in effect until 8 a.m. this morning. Things are looking up, though. We'll get into the forecast in a moment. The severe weather threat has been decreasing over the last few hours for the Meridian area. It's moving a little bit further to the west, the more severity of this. We'll talk about that coming up as well. How do you feel? I've had 2 cups down. I think I still got a pot to go. I might be normal again. Some of these mornings are early, aren't they? Do hope you're having a great one. And let's pray and get together and hope it is a wonderful day ahead of us. It's Fun Friday. The entire gang is here. Our vacationing that girl is back in town today. She's been working on makeup for the last 2 hours. She'll be in soon. Greg is here. Oh, boy, I'm telling you what. And Odie is just really going overtime. He's already in this morning. We've got the show lined up for you. Right now, we need that good word. Let's go to Collinsville. Get our message of the day from Brother Ben.
If you look back into history, it's hard to believe how different our lives are compared to folks who lived just a few generations ago. Most folks around here back then were farmers who lived off what their own land produced. They worked with their hands every day to provide for themselves and their families. But so much has changed since then. You see, in the 1970s, we began to experience a major revolution, what you might call the information revolution, brought on by computers and then eventually the internet. We now live in the information age. And with that information age, people have moved from working with their hands and their backs to working more and more with their fingers and their minds. A keyboard, a mouse, and a computer have become the tools of trade for so many people. And sadly, those vocations that traditionally worked with their hands, the electricians, the carpenters, the plumbers, the mechanics, have fallen out of favor. People have begun to pursue these trades less and less. But even in the information age, Apostle Paul has a very important word for us in 1 Thessalonians 4:11. He says, make it your ambition to work with your hands. Beloved, there's just something about working with your hands. We all need those practical skills, but more importantly, there are theological reasons. You see, when you work with your hands, you reflect God's image. He's a creative God, and when we work with our hands, we create things, and that reflects God. It also brings personal joy and satisfaction. I mean, there's just a unique joy in seeing the fruit of your labor, whether it's something you built, fixed, grew, or crafted. It brings about a sense of purpose and accomplishment. And there's also the aspect of avoiding idleness. You know, the old saying, idle hands are the devil's playground. Well, busy hands are more likely than not holy hands. And there's also the aspect of the goodness of working yourself to being tired. It brings rest, right? Deep rest, and it's sweet rest after you've put your hands to work. Yes, I know we live in an information age where so much work is mind work, but we must seek ways to give ourselves to physical labor. The wise person makes it his ambition to work with his hands. And while you're at it, don't forget to shake the hand of that electrician, carpenter, plumber, or mechanic. Their hands still make the world go round. Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that. Odie, you got caught up with politics out at the Piggly Wiggly. What's going on at the round table this morning?
Oh, I hadn't heard the round table. What we got?
I don't know. I'm just curious what they're up to. They're settling something out there.
Talking about that Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A. And then down as we go south, you get into Clarkdale. Boy, they're sitting around there taking care of business down at the Super Red, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
Every little town has got the place where you meet and you find out what's going on. Welcome. This is where we are. We are the Scotty Ray Report. Glad you could be a part of it as we bring you the headlines from all around. And we will be telling you about that new Chick-fil-A that is coming. Big news for our area. As they say, little Dodge chicken there. We sure like it. I'm telling you, they're good folks. We'll tell you more about that coming up this morning, beginning at 7 o'clock as we get the day under the way. This is, and I just read Chris McDaniel. I think we all remember Chris. Chris, pretty good guy there. One of the things that is going on nationwide is this retaliation against Tesla. Did I say it right today?
Tesla.
Tesla. Boy, it's tough for me. I forget every day. But the problem is the left is, instead of, and if you'll remember, a lot of people compared the Bud Light thing to it. And Chris listed that. When people got mad about them going woke, they just quit buying it. They didn't harm anyone. They didn't attack any trucks. Nothing like that. But the left has gone to attacking cars. President Trump issued this. People that get caught sabotaging Teslas. Tesla. Man, they need to respell this word. Stand a very good chance of going to jail for up to 20 years, including the funders of it. We are looking for you is what Trump passes along. Seriously, they're doing this nationwide. Canada. It's horrible that anybody would even consider doing something like this. We'll see. Let's see here. Up and coming today, we're going to find out who gets a defense contract. Will it be Boeing or will it be Lockheed? $20 billion contract to start off with, and I'm sure it'll have some add-ons with it, but it's supposed to be announced today. That's a big one there. Whoever gets that contract is going to have some work as we look at that. I watched a Florida sheriff. Interesting video. How many times have we heard of these scams nationwide to where somebody takes money from an elderly person? Well, it starts out as a telephone call, whether it's your grandson's in trouble, your granddaughter, and they scam money out of them. Sometimes it's a different scam. I like this. The Florida sheriff waited at the airport as the female was brought back to Florida for doing it. She took $35,000 from a very, very elderly person. It was their life savings. And he told them, we don't put up in Florida. You're going to jail, and I hope you rot there. Met them at the plane, told them that. Not going to be good for their stay there in Florida. It's an extra crime to hurt the elderly, in my opinion. And I hope they get their doing for what they done there. They have no way of making that money back. Y'all know that. You've worked all your life, and the little pennies that you can set aside each week, it's tough. Oh, Joy Reid. Y'all remember her? She lost her job because no one watched her show. Pretty bad. She said in a podcast this week that she predicts that America will go to war with Canada and America would lose. Do they even have planes over there? Not much.
It could be me.
Because the last I checked, we protect them.
Yes.
Joy needs to check her facts. Bless her. They have someone they're looking for, a family of 3. They went to visit the Grand Canyon. They left and went into a winter storm, and they have not been seen yet, been missing for at least a week now. Scrambling to find them. We do hope they're found. That's awful there. We do hope they're found soon. Did y'all know that we are already at a spring? Yesterday was the first day of spring, and it got by me. I didn't even realize that yesterday, and now we're sitting at freezing this morning. Doesn't feel like spring. When does spring break hit, or is it already?
It's already gone.
Oh, when do they go to the beach? When is that big? Was that last week too?
They do.
Like Daytona spring break.
Coming up this week, next week.
Okay. I hadn't missed that part, but yeah, spring break is here. I hope you're enjoying that. Spring is here. Wow. And again, it's 30, 28 in some places. Canadian geese. You go, Joe. Let's see what else we have here. Oh, this is tragic, 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 tragic. It hurts my soul. This was in Dallas. And you can only imagine, what if you were walking your pup? He gets away. The owner tried to chase it down, and both were killed in traffic in Dallas. Hurts the soul, doesn't it? I don't think either one of them saw that coming. Hurts me there. Mariah Carey gets a win. This has been going on for quite some time. She had such a huge hit with All I Want for Christmas Is. You remember that song? There she was being sued, saying she stole the song. A judge's ruled, not so. It's hers. Leave her alone. Not sure who will have to pay for all those court expenses that were encountered over this, but somebody will. We have somebody that's been released by the Taliban, Afghanistan, finally. Been there for 2 years, been released. Isn't that good? That's great. He was a mechanic for Delta Airlines, George Gleesman. Glad he's back home. power outages, they happen nationwide. And sometimes the bad guys are, well, they're waiting for something like that to happen. Colorado is where this went on. Power blinked at a ice facility. They were near the door and off they ran. At least 2 got away. They're searching for them. They'll get them in the end, but bad guys are always looking for a way to get away because a lot of times they're not coming back. We have a couple of executions that have happened across the nation this week. Oklahoma, we start there. 2005 is when this happened. He was put to death yesterday. It was a random home invasion. He killed a woman, hurt the lady that lived with her. It's just awful there. This happened. Wendell Grissom, he was 56 years old. He was put to death yesterday by lethal injection for that murder. We go to Florida next. This one really stirs me to no end as we look at this. This guy was also put to death also. Stark, Florida is where all this went on. 63, Edwards James was pronounced dead at 8:15. What did he do? It was 1993. He was renting a home from a lady, and I traveled at one time for working, and sometimes you go to town, and people do rent out their house, a room, to make extra money, to make bills meet. And that's what he was doing. He went to a party, got highly intoxicated, came back to that home. He raped a little 8-year-old girl. He would kill her. Then he would stab her grandmother, kill both of them. He fled. He was caught. He was put to death. Florida is where it happened.
But we fed him for 30-something years.
We did feed him for 30-something years. The justice system is slow. And again, I read these stories of how all this stuff, and they're so compassionate for the killers as they await what is coming. And where's the justice for those who went through that agony and pain where they were tortured? It doesn't quite add up to me. We've got, well, this was a string where there was about 5 guys that were going into gay bars in New York City. They were drugging men, stealing all of their money, and, well, don't go use a credit card that you steal. They tracked them down. They're going to get 8 years in prison for doing that.
That's all?
8 years, that's it. I didn't even know this was up for sale. Odie and Greg piled up their money and just couldn't afford it. It sold for $6 billion. The Celtics basketball team, that's where Larry Bird played, wasn't it?
Yep.
And then Greg came to sense and said, who watches basketball? I'm not wasting $6 billion.
Odie had his half. I just couldn't pull mine.
Odie had his half. That's right. He is a stock market king over there, isn't he? We know all that. Greenpeace, do you know that name that I'm talking about? They're the ones that show up when a pipeline is being put down and they raise all kinds of cane and protest. Ooh, somebody's got to come up with $660,000 for damages that they've done. This goes back over a decade for what they've done, but they've got to pay for it. Now, isn't that ridiculous? What, 10 years before something actually goes to trial, you've forgotten about what you went to trial about. 10 years. Tell me that our courts aren't backed up with senseless lawsuits that we don't need. We have 3 people that are facing charges of, and I should have put the story with the other one, as we brought up what Trump had said 20 years you could get for burning, and I'm not going to say the name of the car, but as we all know, it's the one that Elon owns that I can't pronounce. Got 3 people in jail for that so far. Hope they get more. It happened yesterday, and I didn't realize that this had only been in existence since 1979. Before that, it was done by the states. We had prayer in school. We had all kinds of things that was being handled on a state level. That ink pen hit a piece of paper yesterday, and, well, it got rid of the education department.
Amen.
It's going back to the states. There is no telling, seriously, how much money. Well, Congress will go through it, but he's put that executive order on it. There's no telling how much money we have put into that. And again, states, what happens in Mississippi isn't necessarily what happens in New York. Each part of the United States is a little bit different. You're right. Greg agrees with that. Thank God and Greyhound. Oh, my. This is pretty good. It rattles my soul for anything like this to happen. And I think most of us, not everybody has a pet, but most of us do. They become your best friend. They're there with you. They like you, and nobody else does. Do you remember that dog during the hurricane that was tied to a fence? Well, if you do that again, you're going to jail. They've passed a law in Florida called Trooper's Law. That's what they named the pup after finding him tied to that. You will go to jail over this, and it will have a $10,000 fine. It will be a third-degree felony or prison time. Pretty good there for the pups there. Again, they can't speak for themselves. Now this one, if you're tender-hearted as I am to a degree here, I don't know if everybody's seen this. A woman was getting ready to board an airplane in Orlando. She had a dog. They told her that the dog was not allowed on the plane. Have y'all seen this? She done the unspeakable. She went to a bathroom and drowned her dog in a toilet so that she could board the airplane. That happened. She's in jail. Now, I don't know how long you can keep somebody for that, but is that not the most cruel thing that you've ever heard? Orlando is where it all happened.
She needs to go to the bathroom. Yeah, I don't.
Allison Lawrence, let's put her name out there. She's 57 years old. How could you?
I ain't saying I drowned her, but you know what water tastes like.
Yeah. She'd know the taste of water, huh? Back to high school we go. Let's see here. Former NBA player, what's his name here? Butch Carter. Anybody heard of him? I don't know a lot about basketball. Claims that he was sexually abused while at Indiana University by the team doctor. Boy, let's see here. This one is one of those. He has given up his career, his life. He had 4 children and a wife. And I say he did because it probably won't be lasting much longer. Minnesota State Senator. Sat too long at the motel. Scanned too many things and goes, come on over and meet me. The problem with coming over and meeting him was it was a federal FBI agent claiming to be 17 years old. And he goes, I don't care. Come on. He got arrested. He has resigned officially from the Minnesota State Senate. And again, the guy that ran for vice president, Tim Walz, I think he's the governor of that state, so he had to submit the letter to him. They will fill the seat. He's running, a 40-year-old man. What do you have any business doing with a 17-year-old? I think the courts are going to agree with that also. This is one of those, oh my gosh, how did it happen moments as we go to, I believe this is Texas, is where this happened. Yeah. Somehow or another, a .22 rifle was left in a car and a 3-year-old bumped it. The child was struck. She's fighting for her life. Certainly hate that. Let's see. Bernie, it doesn't really matter what Bernie's doing this morning, does it there? We have somebody protecting themselves. Let's see here. There needs to be some testing before you become a pilot, I believe. I don't know how think on this, Greg. You're sitting at Southwest Airlines. They're sitting there getting ready for you know how you taxi onto the runway? The pilot mistaken the taxi for the runway. And I'm not making this up. And they let these guys fly planes. It really needs to be some testing there of.
Well, you couldn't do that in DEI.
Man, I mean, that kind of scares me. I think we've all watched Pawn Stars, and I don't know if everybody. It's a good show, isn't it? Did y'all realize that he'd lost one of his sons last year to drugs? And Rick was talking about just how every day of his life he can't forget his son. He said he tried time and time again, put him in rehab. It didn't work. And I think each of you know somebody or either have a family member or a cousin that's been affected by this. It's tough, isn't it? Tough. Think of him when you see him next time. That's a tough one, a tough pill to swallow, so to speak. A parent should never have to lose a child. I think each of us know that. There's many of you watching that have been down that road before. This morning, things have been slowed. I don't know if you're aware of this. Out of London, Heathrow Airport, there was a fire not far from there at a power plant. It cut the grid down. Planes are delayed. It's shut down for the day, and planes are sitting all over the world because they have some interaction with Heathrow. So it's a little delay there. We'll be right back. We got weather forecast coming up next. We'll get you caught up on that as we get ready for the morning show.
We welcome you to a new vehicle buying experience here at Doc's Toyota. Buying a new vehicle doesn't have to be stressful, but don't just take our word for it.
This was the best experience I've ever had buying a vehicle. Doc's employees are top-notch.
I drove 2 hours, not once, but twice, to purchase 2 vehicles with a 5-month time frame.
Doc's delivers competitive pricing, a comprehensive selection, and flexible financing options, helping you get on the road from Carthage, Meridian, and beyond. There's a reason why there's no deal like a Doc's deal.
Welcome back as we get into our weather forecast.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
Record highs and record lows. It was 2017. It was a hot day, 89. Back in 65, we had a low of 20. As we look at the forecast across Mississippi today, 68, 69 in the Meridian area. As we go north, Columbus cooler at 66. Down to Natchez, we'll see 69. Across that state line, we'll see Demopolis sitting at 67. Gadsden, 65. As you go down to Montgomery, we should see 67 there if you're going to be in that part of the country. Now, reminding you that we do have this light frost this morning. It is 30. How light is it out there? It's pretty cool. 28 in some places we've got the thermometer shows here. As we come across, let's talk about elevated wildfire danger for today. They're saying not burn. Do not.
It's going to be something.
Be careful. It gets even worse at Vicksburg up through Greenwood, but we're at a level 1 here. Use extra caution. Don't burn unless you just absolutely have to. Skip it, wouldn't you say?
If you're hauling some kind of equipment, you got it tied down. You got the
Tied
chain.
down.
Don't be dragging a chain.
Oh, yeah. That will cause a little forest. We hear all these side of the road fires, and that's what it's from.
A ramp, a chain, or bad brakes.
Look at this. Now, this is getting better. As we were yesterday looking at a level 2 for the area, we've backed down to a level 1, and on the western side of Lauderdale County, under that level 1, back to Philadelphia. Even portions of Winston County, a light portion is at a 2. Let's hope that this starts and continues to downgrade. We'll watch this for you through Sunday afternoon to let you know how it turns out. As we come across, and what do we got with weather? Look at this. Normal-ish here in Mississippi, Alabama, but hot as you get back to New Mexico. Those areas there across Arizona. Let's look at our 7-day forecast. Here's what we have. We jumped it, didn't we? There we are. 67, 68 today is what we're expecting, down to only 42 tonight. By the weekend, it's 76 on Saturday. You'll be able to wash a truck, a vehicle, to try to get that green stuff off.
The show coming down.
It is. 79 on Sunday, as we only have a 20% chance of showers during the day. It'll increase a little bit there in the evening hours and overnight there with those storms. As by Monday, we're 72, back in those upper 70s by late week. And as we all the way through April the 4th, look at this. We're sitting at 80 multiple days through this, even up to 82 by April the 4th. April Fool's Day should be not bad. 78 as you'll head off to vote. That's coming 2 weeks out, believe it or not. As we come across, this is what we're looking for fishing times today. Best time today is at 5:38 this afternoon. It'll be good to about dark 30. We have minor times today at 10:30, but the wind's going to be light and variable, 5 to 10, and again, it can get away from you as we look at that. Sunrise is happening right now. 6:56 is when it happens. We'll have sunset strolling in at about 7:07 tonight. We're getting ready for the morning show. Where is that girl still getting all dolled up?
Prepping.
She's prepping in there? Okay. She'll be here in just a moment. It's Fun Friday. Won't you join us? We're moments away from the morning show kicking off. We'll do that at 7. We got some coffee to make, some good times to put together. We'll see you right at 7. Join us, won't you, for the Scotty Ray Report.
The Scotty Ray Report is brought to you by our following partners.